Hey, what's up, fam? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode today at the Paging Dr. Chanda podcast, where we talk about mental wellness, faith, and culture, and we are reinforcing self-reflection through meaningful conversation. I'm your host, Dr. Chanda, the one and only psychologist turned your favorite podcaster. But I have some things I want to talk to you all today about. First things first, y'all. I need y'all to boost my ratings a bit. Like, the ratings been coming through, but they've been a little mid. Like, y'all haven't really been doing the due diligence. So what I'm going to do is, if you have a question for me, y'all can submit them via the comment section of the podcast on where you go on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. You can put your question in the comment section and give me a 5-star rating. So for everyone who leaves a 5-star rating, then I will be able to answer your question. But outside of that, I don't know what to tell you, beloved. Like, I just need my ratings up there. Why do we need ratings? I'm so happy you asked, because that helps us with our visibility. It helps us with getting more sponsorships. It helps us with more ads. It helps us to show up in the numbers. So make sure that y'all are rating if you're not a hater, okay? All right now. So thank you again for tuning in. Forgot to drop in. So now we are on the Revolt Podcast Network. Anchored in hip hop and powered by creators, y'all. The Revolt Podcast Network is a believer in Black creators. Their goal is to amplify Black voices. And so we are happy to be in partnership with them as they continue to give us space and time to allow us to create so that the rest of the world can see our creativity. We do this. I do this with my podcast. I also do it alongside my twin sister. So make sure that you guys are checking out the Double Dose podcast. We heard y'all been like really feeling the last episode. We recently dropped another episode, which is called, what's it called, Chanelle? Awkward Black Girls. Awkward Black Girls. So we talk a little bit about our career. Many of you know that, yes, we are in the social media space and we're creators, but we also are like full-time, like career girlies, right? So I'm a full-time psychologist. I own a private practice. My twin sister is, she works for a sports team and she's a DE&I practitioner for an NFL team. She's kind of like off on the sideline saying that, but she predominantly helps to advocate for the underserved within the sports industry. And so we both do really great things in our careers, but one thing that we both do, even though we're in different industries, one thing we both do is we thrive in environments that weren't created for us. Both of us are in white male dominant industries. And I think it's just amazing that like we are both able to show up authentically as ourselves, even though it hasn't always been that way. And we kind of like walk through and talk about the hardships that we've experienced with being Black women in our fields and how we pretty much had to kind of like, you know, kick the door down in our high heels in order to allow space for us. So that was a dope episode. Again, Awkward Black Girls on the Double Dose podcast. So make sure y'all are checking that out. What else we got going on, Chanelle? Any other announcements? That's it? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to hop right into the topic. So today's going to be a little brief. Another thing. So if you guys have, again, like specific questions for me for the Ask Dr. Chanda segment, I'll only do the segment if you guys send me a question through the 5-star rating. But again, like if you leave a 5-star rating, put your question in there and I'll answer it on the show. And that is for our Ask Dr. Chanda section. I was going to say something else, but it slipped my mind. What else was I going to say? Child, I don't know. I got a lot going on. So we're going to keep going. Make sure that y'all get the updates by texting podcast to 21000. That's podcast to 2100. That way you can get our text messages that go out regarding our podcast and what that means to us. Yo, we got some big things happening this year. Somebody was actually saying to me the other day, like, it's crazy because it seems like, even in the midst of like the year you had this extreme tragedy. And also it's like you have so many crazy things happening right now. And I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what God is doing. Possibly it's the Jesus year coming up. I don't know. It could be that, but it literally has been a whirlwind with of course, devastating news in April and then back to back, just like, 2 contracts for a podcast network. Here's 2 features in a Essence publication. Like it just was like literally back to back to back. And I literally have no other explanation for that but God. But God. Like literally, that's it. That's all. One more thing. Literally a TV station, I won't say the network. We're still in the works with my agent, but they reached out to me to see if I can do commentary for a true crime series. Like it's literally been just back to back to back. And again, all God. And I think that really is a testament of what happens when you continue to put him first, even in tragedy, even when you don't understand what's going on, even when you're mad at him. I don't think enough Christians really talk about that. Like how we have very much human emotions and we can experience those emotions and it can show up in our relationship with God, but it doesn't mean that it should impact our relationship with God. So we can go through, like, even in the seasons where I'm not understanding, I'm confused by God, I am angry at God, I'm upset with God, and also continuing to keep him first. I don't think y'all understand the struggle and the discipline it takes. Now that I'm really thinking about it, and Chanelle, we can dig deeper into this into our podcast. We will. She's talking about, let's talk about this on Double Dose. We will. But like, Chanelle, the extreme difficulty of being like a disciplined person, like having a prayer life, having prayer time, and also I don't know if I feel like talking to God right now. Like, I don't know what you're doing right now. I'm kind of looking at you like, I don't know what's going on. You say you got my best interest in mind, but it don't feel like it right now, so I don't want to talk to you. But I'm going to still be here for my prayer time. Because I love you. But I just don't want to talk to you. It was really like a it's a relationship. It was definitely a relationship. Chanelle, just hop on. Yes, please pull up a chair. Y'all, Chanelle's coming in. No, because can we share this mic, bro? Or is her mic on? Okay. Bruh, let me tell you. Come through, beloved. Come through.
Just switch the logo out. This is Double Dose.
No, this is my podcast. Oh, she gonna say like, the fact that we just turned this into a joint episode is hilarious to me. But hey, this is Chanelle, y'all.
Hey,
she's joining me on my podcast today. Praise him. Give the Lord a hand clap of praise for that.
Hallelujah. He is worthy.
You're not about to do this.
All right.
No, but Chanelle, like I'm really just talking about like how.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All of it. It's literally, I don't think people like really conceptualize the fact that having a relationship with God is like having a relationship. Like
life.
Similar to what you were saying, like I'll say for a good, sometimes I'm still even going through it, like I'll be here, Lord, because I love you, but I kind of don't want to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
Like,
That's real. Because I think that especially like as us and kind of like even being, in the leadership realm and, faith-based spaces, people assume we got it all together. We God's peacock on the block.
Right.
Nothing phases us. We good.
My world was shooketh.
Because it was like, and if you follow us, you probably know what we're talking about. But it was like, he did it before. We're just expecting healing again. He
gonna pull up. Okay, hospice. He'll pull up. He knows how to heal.
Yeah. This ain't nothing new.
Yeah.
Beloved's been fighting illnesses for all of our lives.
Yeah.
This is nothing new.
This is nothing new.
But then
even when the nurse, even that day when the nurse was like, y'all got like maybe a few hours, to embrace these moments. We was like, get out of here.
Right.
God'll heal her. God'll heal her. Forget that.
But and sometimes like faith can have us in denial for real.
Nobody talks about that.
Faith can have us dismissing facts.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that there is space for faith and facts.
I agree.
You can hear the facts, you can understand the facts, and also there's nothing wrong with incorporating faith into that. But I don't think that your faith should be an excuse to block out what's happening.
Right.
Because facts is information. We need information.
And that's so easy to receive when it's not your family member.
Yeah.
Like I can 100% preach that to somebody else.
Yeah.
But like, me? Oh, he gonna do it for me,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. But even like the day before, Chanelle, like when the nurse came and was like, checking out her vitals or whatever, and it was like, she's a fighter. Like her vitals shouldn't even be this good. She's on like if her organs are like this.
Like her chart doesn't look like
like she doesn't look like what she's
been through. Right.
So it was just like an abrupt shift the next day. But I guess because of that shift, we were in shock. And so that is what that shooketh not only my world, it shook it impacts your relationship. Yeah. With God.
I agree.
But it doesn't necessarily mean when you go through stuff like that it should and we're gonna save this for the other podcast. Right. I know. But okay, so we're talking faith and science, right?
Right.
Basically, right? So we're saying we can have faith, but we also need to have science. That's honestly like the realm that I was going in anyway with today's episode.
Yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't have to be two separate things. I mean, it is, but faith and science, cool. But God created science.
For sure.
God is science. Like the explanation of the weather, whatever, everything you see outside, that's a result of our God. Right. Our miraculous, omnipresent God.
But so, and that baffles me when I hear like people saying things like, well, I don't believe,
I don't believe in God. I believe in science.
I just believe in science.
Or baby, you believe in God.
Or I don't even believe in science. I just trust God. Or I just believe God. We should trust God. Right. But, global warming, what's that?
Right.
It's all a conglomeration of everything that God did.
Exactly.
And so that even kind of like goes into like my field, which is psychology, talking about mental health to people, right? And for so often, people want to separate these two concepts of faith and science. The science pertaining to the brain, the anatomy, neurotransmitters, chemicals, like hormones in the body that impact the mood. They want to separate that from, faith.
Right.
And it shouldn't be.
It's not, but it shouldn't be because it's literally not. Like, this is the God that invented the molecules and the neurons and the brain cells and all that. Is that what it's? No?
Yeah, you good.
The neurotransmitters.
Yeah, that's a good job.
The frontal lobe and the backal lobe.
Shut up, bro. There is no backal lobe.
What's the back part called?
Okay, we got the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the...
What do y'all call the back?
I know the stuff that's back there. We got the cerebellum, it's a lot of stuff back there. I forgot the back part of the lobe, though.
Okay. Well, God did it.
God did it. He did it all.
He did.
But, and I think that one of the things that we have to do, especially in the realm of like mental health, is continue to drive the conversation. Yeah. There can be faith in science. One of the reasons why I decided to like even pursue this in my dissertation. So my dissertation topic, y'all, for those of you who don't know, it was about integrating faith and religious practices in therapy with African-American clients, so specifically related to Black people. And so one of the reasons that led me to that is I remember being a student, and we were kind of like, at a student gathering at a hospital in Maryland. And we were talking to other students or whatever about, mental health and like the importance of like, I was talking about the importance of like faith in that and asking clients about their faith beliefs, cultural beliefs, if that is something that they want to discuss. And, one of the students was like, well, why is that important? Really? So I'm like, wow, it's really people out here who don't understand the importance of incorporating the two.
Right. Because people who are rooted in our faith, like that's a part of their foundation, their core foundation. Yeah. So as a therapist, you do need to know that so you can know how to perform therapy.
Right. Exactly. But people, so here's the thing, Chanelle. When in terms of like how we define psychology today, it's a very much scientific definition. Okay. Right. So the psychology is like the study of the brain and behavior and how the two connect. If you look up the definition of that, it'll be something along those lines. Okay. But centuries ago, the word psyche, the root word of that is like spirit.
What?
Yeah. And so like when psychology was first started, it focused on the mind, it focused on body, it focused on soul and spirit. So it focused on all these things. So much to the point, Chanelle, that back in the day, I'm talking centuries ago, to the point where in order to heal people of like mental health ailments. There was a procedure. I forgot what the procedure was called, but there was a procedure where they would drill a hole in your head.
A lobotomy?
Nah, that's a lobotomy is when they drill a hole in your head and they take parts of the brain out in order to improve mental functioning. For this procedure, they drill a hole in the head and they believe that like spirits were being released.
What?
Yeah. Spirits were being released in order to improve your overall mental health. And that just shows how over the years we've gotten away
so
from
far away from God.
Yes, we've gotten away from incorporating aspects of spirituality and science because the two do coexist.
Wow.
But who am I?
Psyche. Psyche is spirit. In what, Latin?
Yeah, I think it is Latin. I think it's either Latin or Greek, one of the two.
But I got the Holy Psyche.
Huh? You got the Holy Psyche? Shut up, bro. So we were so in that circle, like it really kind of like reinforced the reason why I wanted to. It's my passion to really talk about how the importance of us actually incorporating these two and getting back to a place where we see these things as not being things that are mutually exclusive.
Wow, I never knew it was so integrated years ago.
Yeah, girl, very much so, very much so.
And this society is so dead set on just separating God out of everything, and blocking God out of everything.
And the crazy thing is, it's not just this society. It really happened. I would say this is like a multi. I don't know if the right word is generation, like a multi-generational type of thing, because it really happened over a span of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the science progressed, it went more into like what they call like a medical model. But even, and I don't even like that word because even in the medical industry, I believe there are spiritual aspects into that.
Yeah.
When I work with my clients, typically when we conceptualize cases or we kind of review how everything is going and what's causing it, we call it a conceptualization. And we go about it from a biopsychosocial perspective, biological, psychological, and social perspective. So understanding all those three parts. So what I do though is I do a biopsychosocial spiritual perspective, biological, psychological, social, and spiritual, because there are spiritual components that can impact us regarding our mood, our mental health, our behaviors.
Absolutely. That's all up and through the Bible.
All up and through the Bible, Chanelle.
Child.
And a lot of times we don't recognize these things. We see these things as they're mutually exclusive. So I'm a nerd a little bit. I'm a little bit of a geek or whatever.
Yeah.
So I brought my research out here.
Good.
But not my research, but like peer-reviewed articles that I've also utilized. Some in my dissertation, some not. But specifically just kind of further drive that point that there is a correlation between faith and science.
Not to derail you, your dissertation, you presented that at ABSci, right?
Yeah.
How was that received? And ABSci is
the Association of Black Psychologists National Convention.
Yeah.
I'll be going there in Detroit.
You'll be speaking?
July.
Yeah.
My homegirl, Dr. Afia, will be too.
How was that received?
It was received to the people who came. So I was very blatant that this topic is related to incorporating faith and spirituality, and the faith I'm talking about is Jesus.
You said Jesus.
Yeah, that was so the topic was Jesus is my doctor.
Oh yes,
incorporating faith and mental health.
Yeah. Okay.
So the people who came were like very much interested in that topic. Now granted, if I had presented it to the entire conference, it may not have been received at the same degree, only because there are multiple different faith-based and spiritual practices that we at ABSci that they at ABSci endorse. So it would have been a little different.
Okay.
But shout out to ABSci, y'all dope.
ABSci. All right, should I step away now? You about to go into your facts?
No, I want you to stay here. Why would you try and leave me?
What?
We had a whole conversation.
Oh, sorry.
What's up with her?
This is your podcast.
But now it's my podcast. But over there, you was like, I'm gonna just pull up a mic.
You're right. It's our podcast.
You're annoying, bro. Okay, so you ready for this?
Yes.
All right. So a study done in the Journal of Psychiatric Research titled "Neural Correlates of Religious Experience: a Systemic Review and Meta-Analysis" was conducted and published in 2019. So not too long ago. But they found that engaging in religious and spiritual activities, specific areas of activated specific areas of the brain associated with positive emotions. And these areas of the brain included the prefrontal cortex up here, the anterior cingulate cortex, and the insula. So they're saying that they're saying
Because
that
I don't understand none of this, but okay.
that's okay. That's why you're here.
Break it down.
All right. So they're saying that when people engage in faith-based practices such as prayer, reading your scripture or whatever holy book is associated with your specific religious group, engaging in community worship, things of that nature.
Okay.
Those are the types of activities that activate those the prefrontal cortex, anterior cingulate, like all those different parts of the brain that are related to having happy emotions. So if you want to experience happiness, if you want to experience joy, if you want to experience, those emotions that we want to feel more of, desirable emotions, if we will, then engaging in those types of faith-based practices can endorse that. Wow. And that's why I say there's a strong correlation between faith and science.
The fruit of the spirit.
What you mean?
So the more you engage in these, activities, you will encounter the fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace, happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good. Good job. Okay. So let's talk about mood and faith.
Because God is strategic.
Yeah. Talk more about that.
Yeah. I don't got nothing else to say about it, but God is strategic. So I don't think it's a coincidence that hey, the more we engage in these spiritual practices, XYZ, the more we experience the fruit of the spirit.
Yeah.
Which is, and like you said,
scientifically terms,
right? Joy, happiness, peace, laughter, etc. From a spiritual eye, that's the fruit of the spirit. Yeah. That's the life of a believer.
Right. It's the manifestation of the Holy Spirit.
Right. Exactly. Wow.
Period. God be looking out.
He do. He's strategic.
Strategic, man. Okay. So exploring research findings that indicate a positive correlation between faith engagement and improved mood, specifically among Black millennials. That's us.
Say that again.
So we're looking at the correlation between having positive mood and stuff amongst Black millennials in faith-based settings, right? And so a specific study looked at religiosity and mental health outcomes among African-American college students. And they explored the relationship between religiosity and mental health outcomes in Black students. And they found that higher levels of faith-based practices are associated with increased feelings of hope, resilience, optimism, contributing to improved mood and psychological well-being among Black millennials. So this is why I'm a firm advocate for campus ministries. For bro, do y'all still got campus church and stuff, campus ministries on?
He graduated years ago.
He works at Del State.
Oh, okay.
So we still got the campus, kind of the church, but we got different things on campus. So we got different orgs that cater to each thing.
Okay.
Oh.
Society, we got students against a godless.
Yep.
Sex.
Yep.
And then they have the atheist group, people that don't believe in
Why do they need to get together?
Well, I understand. I get it, right? So
why do
okay, so I don't know if they heard them, but they're saying at DSU on campus they have SAG, Students Against a Godless Society, and that's for the Islamic faith. They have the atheist group.
No, they have you said they have the Muslim group.
Muslim group.
They got the
Students Against the Godless Society. That's usually the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
The
Atheist group.
I believe it could be probably one more that I'm missing. I know it's nothing for Jews though.
Really? Nothing for Jews. Why is that?
I know.
I'm sure we got Jewish people on campus.
There are Black Jews. A lot of them. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna come to DSU and make an org.
Right.
When y'all having this?
Students for twins?
No. I'm talking about faith, faith-based stuff.
They have SAGs.
Back when we was on campus, Chanelle, SAGs was lit.
SAGs was lit. The gospel choir was lit. It still is.
It is? Oh, good. Okay.
And then just you got your core group that, we just all hung out together.
Okay. Y'all still should bring us back, though.
I agree. Wait, we used to come down there and do Bible study every year. Who was that for?
Who was that for? It might have been SAGs. No?
I don't think it was SAGs.
It's an org on campus that do the Bible study. I forgot the name.
Yeah, it was real dope.
Yeah, we did it every year.
I think until the pandemic, maybe.
Was it until the pandemic?
Is it Force?
Was it?
It's something called Force Ministries, and they be doing like church actually on campus.
They do church on campus?
That sounds
Force need
about
to
right.
hit us up.
Force needs to hit us up.
We could
Wait,
do a whole...
which one? Bishop.
You talking about Chaplain Pam?
No. But do you remember Cheston?
Boyd?
Yeah, Bishop Boyd. Cheston's dad, Bishop Boyd. He was like over one of the groups.
Yes, I remember that.
No? Okay.
But yeah, so like I think it would be dope just to incorporate like more things for students on campus. Like even though like millennials aren't on campus anymore, like thinking of, Gen Z, Gen X or whatever.
Yeah.
Focusing on them and their faith-based practices to
Yeah.
help to, because essentially it does help your mood. Like it's a strong correlation between that faith and that science aspect of what
And
that
having
means.
community with it, like that's huge.
That's another thing, right? So research also suggests that people who are a part of a community within their religious and spiritual faith-based groups or whatever. So let's say like we attend a church and we're a part of like the
small group.
the women's ministry.
Yeah.
Or, we're a part of that. They're saying that can serve as a protective factor against like depression and anxiety.
Wow.
Because you're in that community and you're having these like experiences related to faith and spirituality or whatever, that automatically activates these parts of the brain that helps you to experience a better mood. So it's value in being a part of your group. So y'all out there listening, you need to be a part of your church's small ministries.
Yes,
okay,
and go to
so
Bible
you need to
study.
Be at the Bible study. You need to be in the women's department, the men's department, the
Praise
youth
dance
department,
team.
praise dance team, whatever it is. Because not
Cleaning
only
crew.
is it helping to build the kingdom, but you're also helping to build your internal mental health,
Right.
and building community, and because
Yes.
that essentially helps us with our mood.
Absolutely.
Like there's so many things that can go into this, Chanelle.
So many.
But I wanted us to kind of like focus on that, right? So how our mood can be impacted positively by simply having faith. And let me just leave it here. When we talk about like faith practices and having faith, like it's different. It's two different things, right? To faith-based practices, or what would you say are faith-based practices?
I was looking forward to the answer.
Oh, okay.
It's the
All
difference
right.
between
faith and faith-based practices.
Okay.
Yeah. So faith-based practice, faith-based spiritual and religious belief and practices, those are like formal things that one practices regarding a specific group. Or this is how we kind of like categorize them when we're doing research, right? So
like
this
what?
would
Going to church?
include prayer, attending worship service,
Okay.
reading the word, reading whatever holy book is associated with your group, right?
That's
So those are
faith-based practice.
practices.
Okay.
Even listening to worship music, those are
Okay.
faith-based practices.
Got it.
But having faith, it doesn't have to be as complicated. It doesn't have to be you actually doing something. Having faith is simply believing. Having faith is simply putting your trust in God, right? And so you simply having faith can change your overall, not just the outcome of a
Yes.
situation, but overall how you're feeling inside, how you're feeling
Absolutely.
about life, how you're feeling about yourself, how you're feeling about the world, right? So we experience a much more an improved outlook on life when we have faith.
Absolutely.
And so I just wanted to leave the listeners with that.
Faith is key.
Faith is key. Faith is key.
Faith is key.
Like when I tell you, faith,
Listen.
the way the faith be faithing,
Faith be faithing.
ooh,
I've never faithed so hard.
man, this has been a season of faith.
Absolutely.
A season of faith. Like
Yeah.
there's no other way we could have gotten through this.
Yes. Without having faith that we'll get through it.
Yeah. So I'm here for it. I love this episode. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for inviting yourself.
Thank you for letting me. Thanks for pulling up the chair, JR, and hooking up the mic.
But y'all, this has been another episode of the Paging Dr. Chanda podcast. Don't forget to please rate the podcast. Make sure you are
Yes.
leaving a 5-star rating and leave your
Absolutely.
question in the comment. You have the power to create the emotions that you want to experience. And don't forget to tune in next week only on the Revolt Podcast Network, anchored in hip hop and powered by creation.